Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is just a little extra video for this Friday. It's an important one. I think it's something that needs saying because all day I've seen gamers I know, gamers I follow, all getting called racists and all kinds of other nonsense all over social media for activists, left-wing activists, not understanding gaming, not understanding why gamers are so pissed off with Assassin's Creed Shadows. So I just think it needs bringing to the attention, and someone needs to explain to these left-wing activists why gamers are pissed off with Shadows, why there is so much controversy around it, and that it's not all about racism. It's not all about race. Nobody gives a monkeys about race. So, as you've all seen, I did the video yesterday, and I'd just like to make a note. I did make a mistake in yesterday's video. I got a little bit away with myself and said I was going to pre-order the shit out of Shadows. That's false. I never pre-order any Ubisoft game, or any game in general. I never ever pre-order them. It's just ridiculous. I haven't even seen no gameplay or nothing. I just got a run away with myself yesterday in that video, so just needed to clear that up. So, why is there so much controversy surrounding Assassin's Creed Shadows? And that is one simple fact. Because of YASUKE, or YASUKE, however you say his name. So, I've been playing Assassin's Creed 15 years. There's a lot of other gamers who I know and who I follow who've been playing it around about the same length of time, most of them the same length of time, since AC1 first came out. And the Assassin's Creed community has been asking from day one for the feudal Japan setting. So when we get the feudal Japan setting and we get two controversial characters, one is a woman who's got a jawline like The Rock, and two is the one and only black guy they could find in Japanese history of that time. So there was this the Japanese Assassin's Creed has been in the works there or thereabouts for about 10 years. They've been throwing it around for about 10 years now. And there was a story already written for it with a main guy, Japanese shinobi, samurai, whatever you want to call it, as the lead character. And then, obviously, with the writer who's come in, who just so happens to follow Sweet Baby Inc. on Twitter, has come in and she's wrote the story, and now you've got a woman who, like I said, has a jawline like The Rock. And you've got the one and only black guy who was in that period in Japan and wasn't a slave. So what people are getting wrong, and what the Twitter mob and all the Wikipedia knobheads are trying to do is, on Wikipedia, they're literally trying to rewrite history. And that is something that the left-wing activists have been doing since... It's probably been before, but since George Floyd, they've been trying to rewrite history, make bad people look like good people and good people look like bad people. The left-wing activists have been trying to do it since then. It's probably been going on before that, but it's been amped up at that point in history. So, they're trying to change history on Wikipedia, and it keeps getting redacted, put back up, redacted, put back up, corrected, put back up. Yasuke or Yasuke, however you say his name, was not a samurai. He was a sword bearer or sword holder, which, in all fairness, was a very important role in Japanese culture at that time. Not as important as a samurai, but it was still an important role. Just like to get that out there. But he wasn't a samurai. He was never a samurai. He was never granted that title. And even being the sword bearer, sword holder, whichever one you want to put it, even being that for a black man in that time in feudal Japan was very, very rare. So that's where the controversy comes from. And the reason it is so controversial, and the reason that literally Wikipedia is on fire from people changing history and then people changing it back, that's why. That is the reason. Don't get me wrong, he is a historical character. He was not a samurai. Despite how many times you change Wikipedia, that does not change the fact he was not a samurai. But they've messed up twice with this game, Ubisoft. They've broke two traditions that have been there since Assassin's Creed 1 15 years ago. One was the main character in every Assassin's Creed game has been a fictional character. You have never played a whole game. You have played as fictional characters in them, but you've never played the whole game. The main character has always been a fictional character. He has never been a real person in history. There has been historical characters in most Assassin's Creed games. Do you know what I mean? They like to throw that stuff in. They like to embellish the truth, stretch the story, whichever way you want to word it. It doesn't matter. But that's the first thing. They've, for the first time ever, and it's no wonder why when you look at the woman who's writing it, and she's got her pronouns on her thing, she, her. As soon as you see that, you know shit's gonna go bad. So that was the first mistake they made. They've gone from the main character being a fully fictional character and a work of fiction to using an actual historical figure, a historical character. And secondly, again, this has been something that's been in all Assassin's Creed games from day one. The main character has always been a perfect representation of the people, culture, city or country that the game is set in. Every single game, the main character has been a perfect representation of the set, of the time and location that game's set in. Every single one of them. And then, obviously, with all this Sweet Baby Inc. and DEI and all the other shit you want to call it, whatever buzzwords you want to throw out, it just so happens that when all the other gaming companies are going to shit because they're writing shit stories, because they're letting Sweet Baby Inc. in, they're letting feminists try females, which never works. That's where we're at now. And that's the bare bones of it. The people who are finding this controversial fall into a couple of categories. And I'm going to get the first one out of the way, because I am not so naive to think that there is no racism out there, right? So the people who find this controversial, a small percentage of them probably are racist. I'm not calling any specific person racist, but I'm just not naive enough to think that there is no racists out there. They're out there, they exist. I don't want to affiliate with them. It's not my thing. But the other people, the majority of the people who find this controversial are not just like me, white people. There's black people on YouTube, there's black people on Twitter, there's black people, brown people, Japanese people. Everyone is finding this controversial. The Japanese are going to reject this game straight out of the bat because it's an insult to their culture and their history. And the thing the left are holding on to is this ideology that Yasuke or Yasuke, whatever his name is, was actually a samurai. He fucking wasn't. He just wasn't. But in all fairness, the people the majority of the people who find this whole game controversial couldn't give a shit whether he was or he wasn't a fucking samurai. They couldn't give a shit. The reason they're finding it controversial is for the two reasons I mentioned before. One, the main character has never been a historical person. He or she has always been a work of fiction. And the second, the main character in every Assassin's Creed game ever has always been a perfect representation of the time and location the game is set in. That is why there is so much controversy around this game. That is why people find it so controversial. And yes, maybe the tiny minority are actually racist and they don't want a black guy as a lead in a game. But the majority of us couldn't give a shit about colour. We've played as different colours. If you played the side scrollers, you played as everything. We played as Bayek. Do you know what I mean? No one has a problem with it. In fact, Bayek is one of my favourite Assassin's Creed characters. Connor, a Native American. Do you know what I mean? You've got the Italians, the French, the Norse. No one cares about the main character's race in a video game. The only reason people are finding this, the only reason people are offended by this is because Ubisoft have broken tradition on 2 points that have always been there from day one with Assassin's Creed. The main character has always been a work of fiction, and he's always been a perfect representation of the time and location the game is set in. That is why there is so much controversy around Assassin's Creed Shadows. Not because every single person who thinks it's an insult is a racist. That is just a barefaced lie. I don't care about skin colour, race, religion. I couldn't give a monkeys. 99.9% of gamers who find this game controversial don't care about race. They're just insulted that we've been asking for this game for 15 years and it's the first time they break them two traditions and we get a black guy who wasn't a samurai as a samurai instead of the thousands of other Japanese samurais who are actual figures in history who they could have used if they wanted to use a real character, a real person. Do you know what I mean? You've just literally demoted the thousands of Japanese samurais in history for that one random black guy who you think was a samurai, but he wasn't a samurai, he was a sword bearer. So technically he was still a slave. He was a servant and a sword bearer. He carried the sword for his master, who, I can't remember his name now. It's been a while since I've read the thing on it. But he carried the sword for his master. That was it. If need be, yeah, he might have protected him in certain situations, but he would have never used his master's sword. And he would have never been given a samurai sword because he's not a fucking samurai and he never was a fucking samurai. He was a sword bearer. Despite no matter how many times you change the Wikipedia shit, he was never a samurai. Apparently there has been black samurais, I don't know, but I know this fella wasn't. I've looked into it. I've done my research. He wasn't a samurai. He was a sword bearer. And that is why there is so much controversy around Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's because Ubisoft have broke two rules that they've had from day one. And it just so happens to be when Sweet Baby Inc. are destroying all the other gaming franchises. And the female lead writer who's been brought in to rewrite Shadows because the script has already been written for the majority of the story had already been written for the Japanese character as a man, and it was just one character. So they brought a feminist who just so happens to follow Sweet Baby Inc. in to rewrite the whole story for Assassin's Creed Shadows and turn it into the controversy that it is. It's got nothing to do with racism. 99.9% of gamers don't give a shit about race, religion, creed. They don't give a monkeys. They just don't. But to call people racist or a bigot or xenophobic or whatever other buzzwords you want to throw at people because they don't like this agenda that's getting pushed in video games and it's actually destroyed this game now. I'll probably still play it, but I will only play it so I can have a view on it afterwards, because I can see exactly where the story's going, and I can tell you right now off the bat, I can guarantee you one of the Templars, or whatever they're calling them in this game, is going to be a British colonialist, a British coloniser. I can guarantee it, and that's exactly how they're going to portray him, as an evil coloniser. You can see it coming a mile away. But like I said, this is a video that I thought just needed to be made. It needed to be put out there, because it is not fair for people to be called ists and phobes just because they don't like this agenda that's been getting pushed in video games now, and it's actually probably just destroyed this game. Like I said, the majority probably will still play it just because it's an Assassin's Creed game. If I wasn't doing YouTube, I probably wouldn't play it. I've got to admit, I probably wouldn't play it, because I have a sneaky feeling that it's not just the writer follows Sweet Baby Inc. I've got a funny feeling that Sweet Baby Inc. are all over this shit. But because I'm doing YouTube, I need to play it so I can have an opinion. Because if you don't play it, then you can have an opinion, but you're not going to know the ins and outs of it, if that makes sense. Anyway, so like I said, this video's run on a bit longer than I thought it would. But, like I said, this needed to be brought up. Not every gamer who thinks this game is controversial and wanted the Japanese main character is a racist, is a bigot, is a xenophobe, is whatever other buzzwords you want to hit them with. They're just not. Gamers don't give a shit. We've played as every colour, creed, religion, fucking space aliens, cats. We've played as everything. We genuinely don't care. But what we do care about is the fact that nobody is going to be able to relate to this game. And I have a funny feeling it is going to turn out to be one of the biggest shit shows to come out of Ubisoft since Skull and Bones. And that was only a shit show because it was actually shit. This is going to be a shit show because of the infestation of the woke brigade that have just all got in there now. And they've probably been in there for a while. Do you know what I mean? They've been in there since Odyssey, Valhalla. Do you know what I mean? But they're literally going to destroy a franchise now, in my opinion. Anyway, that's it for now. I've got other stuff to be doing. I've been CJ. This is CJ Games, and I'll catch you in the next one.